Give us a ape recommendation of like
Okay.
what that phone
So
call just said.
here's what's going on. What they're saying is, I have this failure to deliver, and it's worth $1 billion. Or
Okay.
I mean, just a number, right? You were supposed to give me some bananas, and those bananas are now very valuable, and I want my bananas back. And so the DTC clerk says, you're right. You know what? We've got it. I've notified the correct party. You should have your bananas in just a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So they said, okay. Well, the management info system puts those high valued complaints or items up at the top of the list. You're eating a banana. That's hilarious. And so it puts all of those up at the top of the list. Well, think about Citadel.
Okay.
Think about high frequency trading systems. Think about how I've shown people in Citadel Has No Close that these flash crashes are a thing, right? All they have to do is just pump the stock market or withdraw a bunch of bid offers and just tank the price of a stock. So as that goes down, so too does the priority of the issue in their system, because now the value of the stock is not $1 billion, it's 500 million or it's 250 million. And so over 2 weeks, all they have to do is tank the price of a stock, and that issue gets dropped down to the bottom of the priority list and never gets followed up on.
Oh. So is this
Dude,
oh my god. Okay.
I'm telling you, man, the whole book is like that. The whole book is like that.
So this is well known. At the very least, a PhD is writing a book about it, with chapters that say, like, since 2003, people knew this was a problem. How can this be sustainable? People in the live chat are asking, like, how can this last if people know about it?
That's the problem. People don't know about it. Dude, I can't get too far into like this, because this is all going to come out in an AMA, which is why I had to limit it to like a few pages of bullet points, because she and I are going to go off about this. She's so passionate about this. Mm-hmm. We are passionate about this. This should not be happening. It should not be happening. And it's not with GameStop. It's not just with GameStop. Dude, it's everything. The whole market is built like this. The entire market. She's got quotes in here. Man, I really don't want to. I don't want to talk a whole lot about her talking points.
Okay. There's more secrets coming soon.
But there was a poll of a number of companies, and on average, most of these companies, when they would go for shareholder votes, would end up getting 125% of the actual shares that were outstanding and that's an average. So there are like 125% of shares outstanding for a lot of companies, and the impacts of that and how the inner workings of that are going on. And it's like the DTC is doing more to prevent the problem from coming to light than they are to fix the problem. And that's the bomb within her book, Naked, Short, and Greedy. It's not just about the stock lending or stock borrowing program. It's not just about the failure to deliver. There is a trifecta of things that feed into this. So it's like, you can't just look at naked short selling.
Right.
Okay. You can't just look at failures to deliver. You have to look at 3 different parts, which I'm going to let her talk more about. But what we're doing right here is we're giving her an audience, right? I was looking at a video that she did. I don't even remember the name of the talk show host, but I was watching this video and I'm like, man, she's killing it. She's spot on. She's bringing out that video had 2,500 views.
Oh man, what?
From a year ago. Yeah. So 2,500 views. And then, and it's like, there's no follow-up and there's no continuation of this problem. Like, you keep exploring, but guess what? Now we have a bunch of people that understand or are starting to understand the implications of this. And she's legitimately Jane Goodall coming in, telling all the apes, like, come here. Let
Sign
me teach
language.
you. Let me show you. I just wrote a post that was very similar and kind of opened people's eyes up to, like, okay, this is obviously an issue, right? I was just doing a history walkthrough before we get into the meat of House of Cards 2. And lo and behold, we now have her coming in to explain that in even better detail of how the DTC actually worked and the inner workings of the DTC.
Naked, Short, and Greedy by Susanne Trimbath.
Trimbath, yeah.
We have that in the chat right now. You guys can go check out that book. And I have to ask, how did it feel when you saw this research done by someone else and you guys independently arrived at very similar conclusions.
Dude, it gave me goosebumps. Like I had to stop doing what I was doing for a while. I was writing the House of Cards 2, and then it's like, this is a whole new level of credibility here that we're putting into this. And I'm still being bombarded with questions about like, when's the House of 2 coming? When's the House of Cards 2 coming? And it's like, you guys just realize what happened with the House of Cards 1, right? It was an eye opener for a lot of people. Yes, she has been talking about this for years. I didn't know it. It was something that I went in and I started to research. And if I didn't know it, I bet you there's a bunch of people on the forum that didn't know it either. So all we were doing was really just writing something. All I was doing was just writing something that was going to open that or get people to kind of understand, okay, there's this problem when you implemented these computerized trading platforms and computerized ledgers. It opened the opportunity for people to say, we don't need the share anymore. We just need the number in our account. And when you have access to a number in an account, you have access to creating more numbers in that account. It's like the Federal Reserve. They have cash in a bank, but you just see what the computer number or the number is on the computer. When they do a wire transfer, they're entering a number and then pressing enter, and it ships over to it. You're not exchanging cash anymore. Right. So yeah, in that sense, the system is operating the same way. What we don't realize, or what people didn't realize, I didn't realize in particular, was that there was this huge uprising in 2003 with these people that were saying, we don't even know what you're doing with the shares that we have deposited, but we don't know who is doing it, but you guys are short selling the shares that we have, and it's tanking the value of our company. It's tanking the value of our company, and we want our shares back. And the DTC's response was, they're tied up in this basically we can't give them back. Participants have these locked in their trades on their side. We can't give them back. Sorry. They actually went out to clarify by writing a rule that stated that directly, that we're not going to be able to give you these shares back. So when I came to it from that angle, and then Dr. Trimbath came at it from the angle of the actual inner workings, and she's been like advocating and bringing this to senior management in the DTC for years, and they're saying, yeah, we're aware of the problem, but it's trivial. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. Just don't worry about it. It's not an issue. A lot of points in there we're going to talk about more reasons that I want her to speak to personally about why this was never given the kick in the butt that it really needed to, right. And the stuff that she's been dealing with for 30 years. So yeah, man, it was incredible to come to those two conclusions. But most importantly, we've laid the groundwork, right? Now I'm going to get in a meeting with her, spend the next 20 or 30 minutes, hopefully the last 20 minutes or so of that AMA, talking about the stuff that I'm seeing and getting her to confirm ahead of time, is that the right direction? Because she has a lot of these points in her book where she's talking about things jumping up from like failure to deliver, jumping up, effectively doubling in 1 year. And the balance that these people were borrowing, and the balances of their shares that they had borrowed, the share balance doubling in a year. And what have I been saying for months with all these posts? Like, the repo market doubling, the balance on the repo, the repo reverse repurchase agreements and the repo agreements, the assets and liabilities have been doubling. The short positions, Citadel's short positions, have doubled between 2019 and 2020. So it's just, there are too many things that are uncanny with what she's writing and with what I've been pushing out, especially about Citadel. And so to have her start confirming, like, this is the trajectory I'm going, and then have her say, I think that's the right trajectory, is going to be huge credibility for the House of Cards too. That's why we're going to put this together afterward.
I can't wait for all the education in that room. Graduate degrees, sitting down. We have to talk about how you also challenged a Mr. Jordan Belford to a knowledge off. But I have a question from Jimmy Gomez saying, if I understand correctly what you just said, there are issues on a to-do list at the DTCC, and the priority of those issues could be directly related to the price of a security.
It's not could be, it is. It is the age of the outstanding issue, or the age of the outstanding ticket. So this ticket is 4 weeks old, and it has a very high dollar impact. It gets thrown up to the top of the queue in the system. And the clerk sits there and gives a phone call, and they say, hey, we're aware of this. We're going to get you your shares. Don't worry about it. Take your time. The DTC then has like a couple of weeks worth of wiggle room to work with people that are, she doesn't state this in her book. This is what I'm stating. What I just said is coming from her book, priority list, and the people with the means to move the stock price down do so that it drops the priority of the item. Then now from that point forward, this is my take with Citadel. Citadel has these high frequency trading machines. We know I've shown you the FINRA violations for them getting naked short selling, with them triggering these flash crashes, with them withholding customer bid orders so that they can drop down the price. I've shown you all of this, and Citadel has no close months ago.
Right.
And so from that, this is just evidence of reasons why they do this. They have these outstanding issues where they are failing on their delivery. But to Dr. T's point in her book, there's no person, or there's no rule. Get this, there is no rule that requires, top of my notes, page 11 of her book, no regulation in the U.S. requires the borrower of shares to close out long-term outstanding stock loans and settlement failures.
It seems like the solution is right in front of us. So to make it clearer for apes, it seems like, one, if they strike out that, or at the very least implement a rule that allows that, that's a solution right there. We have we had a question from Mason after we pitched the 6 new bullet points that, for this to go to Ro Khanna and every congressman, we have great bullet points here. They're beautifully formatted, great graphics by B. Ritter, but we need a solution to these things. So let's lay it out for people if we have them.
She has a bunch of stuff that she's talking about in her book with solutions, and it's not just solutions that are related to people just writing up your local congressman. It is so easy to read this book and go through and say, she tries to dumb it down as best she can, right? She tries to talk about the issues at hand and what we can start doing to fix them. The problem is it never reached the audience it needed to, so it just kept getting swept under the rug. But I think what we're going to be able to do here is join her movement, or her struggle. Really, it's the best way to put it, is to take her struggle, learn from it, and then amplify it. We're giving her a microphone, or we're giving her a megaphone, and there are a lot of people now that are starting to understand why she's given that megaphone, because it's that important.
Thank you for doing that. Your part in being able to interview and intelligently be at her level, since you guys independently got to this conclusion with your research, running crisscross parallel applesauce. That is very impressive.
It was really cool.